All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 3 secrets to understanding the power within projectors. So today's webinar is the second one in a 2-part series that you guys all signed up for. And so for those of you who are live, hello, welcome. I'm excited to see you. And for those of you who are going to be watching this later, enjoy. So today we're going to be focusing a little bit more on understanding the projectors, whereas the first call we were focusing on unleashing their powers. So that one was specifically for the projectors. Let me see if I can get everything muted. Make sure I can do that. Awesome. And I'm going to share my screen with all of you too in just a minute. And we'll do a poll again. We did a poll yesterday, and so we'll just kind of gauge where everybody is energetically. So whether or not you're a projector. And I don't think that was the screen to share. Let's do that one more time. Make sure. Okay, you guys should be able to see the slides. And just kind of, I've got a little bit more understanding of how to organize my screen so I can see you guys, but have my slides shared. So it was a little different yesterday. Should be able to chat. We do have the chat available too. So if any of you have some insights or experiences that you want to share, then by all means. Okay, so now we're really getting started. Okay, so let's just real quick. Are you in the right place? Do you love a projector? And really that's what this call is all about, if you love a projector. And if you really want to learn more about them, then if you're answering yes, you're in the right place. And for those of you who are projectors but wanted to jump on and are realizing you want to learn more about how others perceive you and how they can help you, then you're also in the right place. And so I'm going to go ahead and put out the poll for you too. So that way you guys can start to answer. And this is just 2 questions to get an idea of whether or not you are a projector, and if not, which of the other energy types are you? And if you're here because you aren't the projector, but you really do love one, it's a way to just kind of check to see, okay, is it a spouse or like a partner in your life? Is it a child, a sibling? Maybe it's a client or a coworker or a friend. So the thing is, we do have projectors in our life, and sometimes when we're relatively new to human design, we're not quite sure who are the projectors. But going through this webinar series, hopefully you'll have more of an idea of who they may be, and then if you want a chart run for them or for yourself, you can go to prosperityalignment.com/how, and I'm happy to run a free chart and give you a little mini guide on understanding your type. So I want to congratulate you for being here, because it's really important to be able to set aside time, to make time, whether you're live or whether you watch the recording. It's still an hour of your time because you're investing it in you for the benefit of the people in your life that you really love, or just because you simply want to learn and you want to know more. And that's the piece here where you want to understand projectors, you want to understand yourself. And I like to take this perspective where we're looking from the inside out, but also the outside in. So for projectors, this might be an interesting call too, just to kind of learn the tips I'm giving the non-projectors and how they can support you. The intention for this webinar is just to have this safe place where we can learn and we can grow together, where we're supportive, where we're fostering kindness and compassion, and that we have gratitude for each other. It's not easy being a projector, but it's not easy being a manifestor or a generator or a manifesting generator or a reflector. And when we can start to understand each other, then we're already allowing each other to express and inspire and to really shine in the way that we're meant to. So I want real quick to kind of go through some of these words, and we did this in the other call, but now we're taking a different perspective. Yesterday's call, I focused more on it coming from the projector's view. And this call is geared towards you who may not be a projector. So I'm curious and wanting to know, in your eyes, as another energy type, is this a projector? Do you view them as a worker? Should they be a worker? Because maybe you are. Do you sometimes feel that they're lazy or bossy or know-it-alls, or maybe repelling even? There's a lot of different words here, and the reason I put the trash can is because I want all of those old beliefs, all of those old perceptions to just be thrown in the trash. Let's just set them aside. For this call, let's really be expansive and open-minded to the possibility that maybe they were misunderstood. Maybe projectors are not these words, because they aren't. It's just how we perceive them when we don't understand them. So let's just go ahead, remove all of those words, ideas, thoughts, past experiences, and how we reacted to them. And let's go ahead and shift into seeing through a new set of eyes what the potential, what the possibility really is for a projector. So is this the projector you love? And we're talking about the projectors in your life that really impact you, or maybe you're raising them. Maybe they're the children in your life. Maybe you've already raised them and you're just now learning, oh my gosh, my child was a projector for all these years and I didn't know it. And I pushed them harder and I made them work and do lots of things. Maybe they're clients and they aren't like everybody else. And maybe they need a little bit more hand-holding. It's because they're unique. They are healers. They're very resourceful. They are appreciated. They're magnetic. They're leaders. And the thing is, a lot of times the words on the previous page that we just threw away is how they feel. And if we can understand that, and if we can change our perception, maybe we can help them change their own perception of who they really are. And so that, again, is part of this intention. So I want you to take all these words, place them in your heart. If you're a projector, do the same. Put them in your heart, because this is you. This is the projector in your life. And it's really important that we start to have this new set of loving eyes that can perceive kind of the underlayers or the unknown, if you will. All right, so let's go ahead real quick and end the poll. And I'll share it in just a minute. I'm gonna try something different. So I know that the poll does not show up. You guys will view it when I share it, but it doesn't necessarily show up in the recording. So for those of you who are watching the recording, you may not see it. So I'll kind of go through it a little bit more. Let's go ahead and share the results. So for those of you who are watching right now, you may be able to see that we do have a couple manifestors, a couple manifesting generators. There are actually 50% projectors, so hello projectors. And for those who are not projectors, we've got 25% who are in relationship with a spouse or a partner that's a projector. There is somebody that has a child. There's quite a few that have friends that are projectors. And then I have other, also a client, coworker. So the thing is, projectors are in our life. Like I said, for some of us, it's more prominent in relationship within family, but even outside, especially in work, we have projectors. And sometimes when we don't understand them, we push them and expect them to work harder. And that's just going to actually set them up to burn out and potentially not unleash these powers that they have. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing that for now. And let's move on. Okay, so my name is Alana Heim, and I am a projector. And I have the emotional definition. I have 2 motors, and I have the 1-3 profile, so I love to learn as much as possible. I have my chart here too, so you can kind of get a insight on who I am and the energies that I have. So I am married to a projector, my husband, Mike. We have a projector daughter who's 9 years old. Her name's Taylor. And then we have a set of the generator twins that are 4, Hazel and Hunter. And it's been a really exciting journey to be able to understand human design and understand the dynamic within my family. So prior to the twins being born, it was actually kind of mellow, and we were in flow, Mike, Taylor, and I. It was a good combination where, you know, we got things done, but we got to relax and enjoy. And then enter the twins. And they're so highly energetic, and they have definition down below the 4 centers at the bottom. So they're very, very highly energetic and buzzing. And my husband's a burned out projector, and I'll tell you more about him later. But it's this level of really understanding, well, who are my kids? And I have generators and I have a projector, and I get to parent according to who they are. I love this. I love that knowing who they are allows me to treat them as who they are, not who I want them to be, not who I think they should be. It's literally knowing that, okay, Taylor is this massively bright girl with all of this intuition, and she's only 9, and she's got so many leadership qualities. And I already can see some of the things that are coming up for her in school where I dealt with that. I used to struggle, and I see things that happen, and it triggers the memory for me to go, oh my gosh, I think that's what I went through. But I didn't know that I was a projector. My parents, who are generators and manifesting generators, my parents and my step parents, they didn't know. So I always pushed and I worked harder, and that's how I went through my whole life thinking I'm a generator type and I'm not. And to be able to guide Taylor in a way where she gets to really honor who she is. And she doesn't always want to rest because she wants to just go. And I'm always cautioning her to take a break and to rest and to honor herself. And that's what I want for you in the relationships that you have. So for those of you who have children who are projectors and you're not, it's eye-opening to realize, oh my gosh, my kid is not me energetically. They're so different. And when you can honor that and understand, you can now parent in a way that feels really good for you, and it empowers your child, and it feels really good for them. It's the same in relationship, whether you have a partner or maybe you have a client. And when you have that relationship and you're expecting or you're pushing and wanting them to do so much more than they can, you can start to see why relationships can struggle and falter. And for you to learn and be here and want to know more about the projector in your life, that's why I applaud you. And I'm really excited to be able to share the 3 secrets to understanding the power within projectors, because I want you to understand them. I want them to be understood, but more so, I want you guys to be able to foster a relationship that is equitable and in balance and sustainable. So the first secret is give recognition to a projector. And I don't just mean the recognition, like recognize their chart, although I have an example here just for you if you're kind of new to human design. I'm not going to go into the technical aspects of the chart. We are going to do that in my program that I'll tell you about later. We'll go into aspects, but I don't want this to be a brain dump or a download of all this knowledge that I have. I want it to be more impactful through experience and understanding, so it's going to help you implement in your life. So this is an example on the right here of a projector's chart. So you'll see the sacral is open. And so this is just another, example of the 9 centers and this being the sacral. This sacral is what is undefined, and it is one of the characteristics of a projector. So if you're a generator type, which is about 70% of you, this is defined. And this is the core piece to why there's so much difference between projectors and generator types, because there's this sustainable piece for generators that projectors don't have. And this is all about workforce and life force. So when we can recognize that in a projector and also understand they need recognition in the way of being seen, they need to be asked or invited or acknowledged. And the reason that I share this is because if you are not a projector and you have projectors that are constantly bombarding you with telling you what to do, or it feels like they're always sharing their input without actually getting permission, this is going to help you to alleviate that. So you can do this with your spouse. You can do this with your children. You can do it with your clients or your friends. If you know that they tend to jump in, or you can just see, or you can feel, maybe you pick up some of the energy that they need to get something out, just ask them, hey, do you have something you want to share? Or, hey, I was thinking about this. What do you think? Boom, the floodgates will open and you will get great insight and great information, and it'll be welcomed because you asked for it. And if they don't get recognition and they share anyway, are you willing to just let them share? But then even afterwards, it's okay to gently remind them that they didn't ask, they didn't get recognition. So it's a two-way street where you're kind of teaching them to learn to wait for that recognition, but you're also allowing the recognition or sharing when they didn't wait for it. So remember that they just want to help. So when they're all of a sudden just downloading all kinds of really, really great information, it might not be perceived that way. And an example is there's this level of, if I have something to share with you, being the projector that I am, and I just come and tell you, energetically you already have a wall up. And you're going to feel like, why am I talking to you? You may be really annoyed, maybe even frustrated, and kind of on the defense. Whereas if you ask, or I ask, may I share something? And you say yes, the wall breaks down. And so this is a really important piece to understanding that this gets in the way of projectors being able to unleash their power. They know once they've been shut down or treated in that kind of a way, they start to go back inside themselves. And we want to stop all of that. We want to make sure that they feel comfortable in their own skin. They're able to share with you, the person they love, exactly what's going on with them. So there's kind of a lot here with recognition and understanding all of that aspect. And I want you guys to just remember, start to think of even some of these other examples in your life where you've seen this happen. And just notice, what can you do differently next time? And that's why in the Powerful Projectors program, I will teach you how to recognize a projector. So that way it's less frustrating and overwhelming for even you in being able to have that relationship that's sustainable. And I'll tell you more about the program in a little bit. So let's move on to secret number 2, which is understand how projectors communicate. Now, I see this a lot because generator types are very fast and busy and have all this energy, and projectors don't have that because the sacral's open. So when we communicate, the fastest answer that a generator can give is a yes/no response, because it's a response and it's quick. Projectors live in the stars and they cannot respond that quickly. So if you've ever noticed that you've asked yes/no questions and they never give you a yes/no answer, this is why. So ditch the yes/no questions. You really have to ask them a more expansive, open-ended question. And you can turn a yes, no into an open-ended by kind of asking in a way like, oh, I'm wondering what you think about this, or I'm curious if you want to go to the park. It's important for a projector to be able to play in that expansive energy, because without it, they're getting really, really kind of like overwhelmed, and they have anxiety, and they feel so put on the spot, and they don't know their answer. Even if they're not necessarily like if they're kind of splenic, they might, but it takes them more, and they don't know how to get to that answer. The truth is they can get to a yes, no place, but it takes a while of really being in tune with who you are and getting quiet and understanding what's going on inside to be able to give the answer. But even then, it might not be as quick as a generator would like it to be. So when a projector is kind of sharing and answering, it's also when they hear their own truth. They're hearing it come out for the first time and actually figuring out what it is they really do want. So if you can give them that place of quiet, or a safe place to communicate so that they can just share and vent and ramble, they're not always looking for an answer or a solution. Sometimes, and it really isn't that they just want to hear themselves talk, even though it might feel that way, but they kind of do. They need to just be able to share and explore. I have a comment here that says, before I began to understand projectors, my experience with them was that they seemed to have more energy than I did, because they were taking my energy in and amplifying it. It burned me out because they felt like they didn't know when enough was enough and worked too many hours. I never recognized them as a projector because of that. In addition, I felt more like a slave working for them. That's why I want to understand better how to work with a projector who is not familiar with human design. And that's great. And that's from a manifesting generator. So imagine a projector can burn you out as a manifesting generator. And that is a highly energetic person. But when a projector can amplify that sacral, meaning they can take your energy and use it even stronger than you can see where there's a lot of power for a projector, but it's not sustainable, meaning they can't do it day in and day out. And we'll touch a little bit more on that in secret number 3. But thank you for sharing that, because it's so true. And their process time, projector process time, is different than generators. Again, generators are used to moving fast, to be in response, to share, to go quickly. Projectors need that time and space and expansiveness. So when you allow them a little bit longer time to process, to respond, whatever it might be, you're actually helping them to honor who they are so that they have more energy, more sustainable energy, more impact in the world, and unleashing their superpowers. I have this example of, and I know I already kind of talked about the yes, no questions, but me and my husband, both projectors. And it's funny because we know we're projectors, we know how we work, but what's the easiest question to ask people? It's a yes, no question. Hey, honey, do you want to go here? Hey, do you want this? Do you want to eat this for dinner? I rarely ever answer yes or no. And he gets it, but it still frustrates him. So this is the level of, even if I'm a projector and he's a projector, we can still be frustrated by each other and with other projectors, even when we still understand or know more about who they are. But it's this level of getting more present, getting more quiet, and recognizing the differences so we can train our conscious to become more unconscious and knowing how to ask the right questions. So he's starting to ask more, I wonder what you want for, what you think you might want for dinner. And then usually I'll go, well, I think this. But if he says, hey, do you want chicken for dinner? I'll go, I could do chicken. I haven't had it in a while. Yeah, and it's just this like waffling energy of, highs and lows, and I don't know, and I'm unsure. And I used to always think I was indecisive. And I realize now that no, I wasn't given enough time to actually go through what felt correct for me. So the closest I'll come is to a yes is yep, or sure, okay. And my kids always are like, Mom, can I do this? And I'm like, sure. And it's still not a very vibrant, powerful yes or no. But if you just switch it and ask me more curiously, I will probably even faster actually say yes or no. Very bizarre, but it's how it works. So just knowing this, if you're with a client, and I see this a lot where we want to be direct and we want them to be accountable, or maybe we need them to give us a yes, no answer. If you know that this client is a projector, they cannot really definitively give you a yes, no. It's like there's always both possibilities. It's always in between. So be conscious of that, and maybe start to see how you can play with open-ended questions and see if that helps the conversation, if it helps them to open up and not feel so closed off. But it feels like you're being interrogated as a projector. It feels like when a yes, no question is coming up, the walls are up and you don't really want to give your way in either way. So I have a comment here that says, my generator husband answers so slow, even yes, no. I'm a projector, have 5 more questions before he has answered even one. So there's a possibility with him being a generator, he hasn't really tuned into his sacral. And maybe he has learned to be up here. And the reality is, when we're in our head, nobody can really know the answer, because we play ping pong back and forth with, is it yes, is it no? And we come up with answers and solutions and reasons, and we can literally debate ourselves back and forth. So he may need to learn to actually drop in to his body and listen through feeling of what feels right and get his sacral humming, because it just may not be turned on so that he can trust it. Yeah, so somebody else is kind of responding that it could be something else. So yeah, sometimes it's just that level of, if you've never truly tuned in and listened, which is the same for projectors. That's why I'm saying, yes, no, if we really get quiet, it is possible to feel the yes or the no and respond. But a lot of times we're still up here too. And so that's where being able to hear our truth and talk it out helps a projector to really kind of hone in. So in my Powerful Projectors program, we're going to go more into how to communicate effectively, because you can see where if you have these projectors in your life and you've unconsciously learned to ask them yes, no, and it's not working, there may be a lot of frustration. And we want to really kind of remove that and help you honor who you are and who they are in a really conducive relationship. So I'll tell you more about the program in a little bit. And let's see real quick. Comment, I'm a projector married to a generator. I move faster and answer yes, no quickly. He moves slower and doesn't answer quickly or yes, no. So again, is this you as the projector? Or is this you in your amplified state of energy being with your generator husband? And this is where, when we've been around somebody for so long, we naturally can take on who they are, because maybe they have openness and you have definition, vice versa, and the energy is actually kind of conditioning you. Then it's just a level of, if you're with your husband, do you answer quickly? If you're not with your husband, do you still answer quickly? And also starting to play with, when you're on your own, how do you feel? And even if you ask yourself questions, or if you're with different people, is it still the same? And you can start to discern just really where you are energetically knowing yourself as the projector. And I talked about in the first call yesterday, knowing yourself. So hopefully that'll help you to start to really look at, well, who am I versus the world? Because it's the world that influences you and how you react and the energies that you get to kind of take in and play with and amplify. Okay, so secret number 3, support a projector with love and patience. And we've already kind of talked about, I touched on the sustainable piece, but if it's this level of, they can't sustain themselves the way a generator type can because of that sacral being open. So if you see the projector in your life struggling, you see them exhausted or burned out, or you just see them always overwhelmed because there's so much to do, and offer some support. Ask if you can help, or maybe just offer it. Because the thing is, projectors don't always ask. When we're around the generators and we're buzzing, we think we can conquer the world and do everything. But if we're burned out, we're not helping anyone. We're not helping ourselves. We're certainly not helping you, the ones that love the projector. If you're married to a burned out projector, I am, it can put more pressure or burden or work on you. And so when we're looking at being sustainable, we want to start with being sustainable with inside of ourselves. But it's also a level of being sustainable within the relationship, within your community, within your family, within the world. And their work style and their flow is completely different from the generator type. So having 70% of the population being this working energy that's highly productive, and 30% of the population, about 21% of which are projectors, that are not able to really sustain that kind of a workforce, meaning 8 hours a day, 20 or 40 hours a week, it really, really, really can hinder the powers that a projector can unleash. So for example, if you're a coach, or you are in business and you have clients that are projectors, and you know what they should be doing and you keep pushing them to go do, they're going to burn out and they are not going to be successful. And so if it is important for you to be able to help your client in a way that you get to feel successful because they're successful, if you push a projector to burnout, it's not going to happen. And that's why this is important for you to understand how you can impact and what's in it for you as the coach. But if you're the parent and you have a projector child and you're raising them to push, 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 you may not see the damage, the energetic decline that will happen in the future. So it's a level of understanding, assisting, helping to give them the recognition and invite them into the job that they might want. If your projector child is already interested in a certain career, please know they can't just go push and get that job. They need an introduction. They need something that's going to open doors for the opportunity that will present so they can actually choose to say yes if it feels right. So it's really important. My husband lived in Hollywood for over 10 years, and he was in the movie industry. He's a projector, so he didn't really have that sustainable energy, but he is beyond resourceful. I mean, he can do so many things. So again, projectors can be masterful, and they're learning all of these different skills because they want to share it and they want to teach you. So my husband's done everything from art department on movies and videos to actually doing the audio, or he's been the guy with the camera and doing video. He's done post edit. He helps me do all of my graphics for my business because he knows how to do that. He can help me put videos together, and he wants me to do really top quality ones because I don't know how to do that, but he can. He spent 10 years in that industry working really hard because it seems glamorous on the back end to watch a movie, but to actually produce it is long days, long hours. It's exhausting. So ultimately, by the time I met him, he was burned out. He ran a comedy show for 10 years on top of doing all the other stuff. And so he would perform, and he literally snapped his hamstring on stage when he jumped up and did the splits, which he had done hundreds of times. And his hamstring snapped, literally off the bone, where he had to have surgery, and then he was laid up. And I would say that was the catalyst to his body just breaking down because he's so burned out. And if you have a burned out projector, you know that the pain, like the exhaustion, the things that actually affect the body are because it's a wake-up call to say, you're not a generator. It's time to stop. It's time to slow down. So it's important to understand that this is what happens to a projector. They can burn out by 40. And I want to say he was he 39, 38, 39? I'm 39. I've been getting closer and I could feel it. So projectors, it's real to burn out. And generators, it's real. So if it feels like all they do is complain about they're exhausted, no, they can actually manifest physical illness in the body as a way to help slow them down. So we want to honor that, because if we can start young, like I can start raising my daughter Taylor now to really understand who she is, she shouldn't have to worry about burnout. She shouldn't spend 40 years of her life trying to be someone she's not and working extra hard and then crash. So it's a level of when projectors burn out, it's a really, really rough, rocky road to get back uphill. So we want to just be really conscious of that. And so that's where if you can provide them with love and support and even patience and understanding that their process is totally different, they're designed differently, they're not able to work as hard and push as much as you can in the long term. In the short term, they're pretty good at that. But again, how much pushing? How much can you help recognize them and then also help them recognize it's time to take a break? So let's look real quick. Yeah, someone said waiting is hard. How do you help a projector to wait for an invitation when the world is like, just do it? And I want all of you to know that we all have to wait. Doesn't matter your energy type. Even manifestors can sometimes have to wait a little bit through their creative process and flow. But for generator types, you have to wait to respond. Projectors, we're waiting for this unknown invitation, this big thing that's coming. And I would say it's all about having fun, because projectors were actually here to have fun first, to work second. We're also here to find that mastery. What really ignites us and gets us jumping out of bed so that we can go share it with the world. In the interim of waiting for the invitation, we get to play with that. We get to go have fun. We get to go learn more if that's what you like to do. And you get to explore. You get to meet new people. And possibly they're going to lead to other invitations. And when we can lose the expectation, that's when we open ourselves to more possibility, because the expectation can limit us. If we think, oh, it has to be this way and I have to do it this way, and it doesn't happen, then that's where even for projectors, it's that bitterness that sets in. Like, oh, never happens for me, and poor me, and I did it just like everybody else, and it doesn't work. Okay, so somebody said, it's important to have something that you like to do while you wait. Waiting isn't sitting there doing nothing. really, it's really a time to prepare yourself for the correct invitation to come to you. Yes, correct. Totally true. And someone said, as a manifestor, I relate to the way of questioning. So I get the projector. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so there's a lot here. And I have this Powerful Projectors program. And this is where, especially in this support, I want you as the non-projector to be able to understand how you can be supported. Because guess what? It benefits you. When you support the projector, they're going to be able to give you so much more back, so much more insight, inspiration, knowledge, healing, whatever it is that they're really masterful at, they're going to have more of it to give to you. They're going to be those successful clients that you work with. They're going to be the successful children that get to really ignite and shine and aren't feeling down on themselves. And that's really important. So let's real quick recap on these 3 secrets to understanding the power within projectors. So the first one was give recognition to a projector. The second one, understand how projectors communicate. And then that third piece, support a projector with love and patience. And I mean, I could go on with compassion and so many other words that could help, but it's that support piece. It's really, really important for everybody. So my Powerful Projectors program is coming up. It's starting on June 15th in a couple weeks. It's a 6-week program, and it's a culmination of projectors and non-projectors, because we're going to come together and understand the dynamic from being a projector to how projectors are perceived. And we're going to explore from the inside out what that looks like. So going through even the 3 keys that we talked about, there's this level of, even if you're not a projector, you need support. And guess who's the best to give you that support? The projector. And if they're not being supported, they're already going to feel energetically drained, and they're not going to be able to support you. So we want to really honor that. No matter what relationship that you're in with a projector, it's this quality relationship building that we need to understand each other. So projectors need to understand who they are. It's helpful for you to understand who they are. So together we can really build this collaborative, cohesive relationship, tribe, community, world, and really take it to a different level. Okay, I have a quick comment here. If waiting isn't setting there, doing nothing, what do you propose after burnout? Sitting there after burnout. So we'll go more into a lot of this in the Powerful Projectors program. But when you're burned out, and it depends, I don't know what your chart looks like, and we talked about motors yesterday in the other call. If you don't have any motors, you have even less ability to really be energized on a regular basis, because you're inconsistently picking that up from others. So it's a level of understanding, maybe I need some rest. And what does that look like? Because to go lay around might not necessarily be resting, especially if you're still worrying. Maybe you need to be in nature. That can really help people. Maybe you need to be grounded. Go put your feet in the dirt. That can help you to re-energize. And so these are the qualities that projectors need to understand and the non-projectors need to understand, because we need to be able to understand each other. And so in this program, we're going to go through that. And I have a client right now who's a manifesting generator, and we're working on her and her energy. But so many times we're actually focusing on the projectors in her life because they have a big impact. And she wants to understand them because there's frustrations that come up. Why did this person do this? And why is it this way? And so it's a matter of her really getting to understand her friends. And then each time she'll come back and be like, oh my gosh, I had this conversation and it went really well. And this is what we did because we talked about it. And she has learned not to ask the yes, no questions. And she's learned how to really interact and give the invitation if it feels right, or to ask them what they think and to acknowledge. And so it's really been helpful and powerful for her. And so that's the same approach that I'm taking in this Powerful Projectors program, where it is a level of let's come together. So the investment for this program is $247. And I also know that programs are designed and sometimes they're a good fit and sometimes they're not. So I wanted to just kind of go over whether or not you see that this may be a program for you. And this is not a program for you if you want to keep your understanding about projectors just the way it is, kind of where it is. You're set, you're good, you know enough, and you want to continue. It's not a program for you if you also want the projector in your life to just figure it out. You want them to figure it out, which means things might not move and you guys won't have that clicked kind of connective energy together to understand each other and where you're coming from. It also may not be the program for you if you really want to just focus on the human design chart aspects. And so what I mean is you want to literally just break down the chart and know everything there is to do and where is it in the chart. We are going to be dancing with the chart. It's always part of my work, but it's kind of like in this way where it's more experiential. And so if you don't like the experiential and you don't want to have the understanding through learning by experience, then this also isn't the program for you. Like if you just want the knowledge, there's knowledge there, but it's going to be more interactive. And then the last piece is if you just kind of want to stay where you're at and be comfortable in that uncomfortable struggle zone, then this might not be the program for you. But I really want you to know that in this program, we're going to be doing the dance with experience and with knowledge, playing with the chart, having you guys really bring your level of understanding as a projector, if you're not a projector, and if you're longing to understand each other from the inside out, then this is definitely a program for you. If you're willing to let go of all the old beliefs and create new perspectives, kind of like we did in the beginning, where it's like, oh, take all those nasty, negative words and throw them away. If you're ready to embrace new, powerful, or empowered words and ways of seeing projectors, then you're going to love this program. And if you're ready to be seen and heard, because I love to be inclusive and everybody have their voice heard. And so if you're a projector and you feel like you're never heard or you're invisible, this is the opportunity where you get to jump on and now we get to see each other. We get to talk about our challenges and our experiences and what can we do? So kind of like the question that's like, I might be in burnout. What do I do? Let's talk about it. Let's figure out together what works, what doesn't. For people who are more experimental, they may want to try different things. And so the last piece is if you're ready to help projectors in your life transform, because let's face it, they have superpowers that need to be unleashed. And the more they step into unleashing that power, the more you get to reap the benefits as the mom, as the wife or husband, or as the boss, or even as the coach, or whoever it is. You get to really enjoy that. So the program, the Powerful Projectors program, starts on June 15th, runs for 6 weeks. All of the classes are going to be live via Zoom, so same thing, but it'll be interactive. And we're going to have more of this experiential and transformational focus. So we're also going to dive into SWOT alignment, which SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it's something we do in business and something I learned being a CPA and being in the financial and public accounting world for 16 years. But I like to take the approach coming from the internal and like looking at the person, not necessarily the business, but who you are. So we'll do this together. Projectors will have their own perceptions of their strengths and weaknesses, and you're going to kind of have your own as well. How do you perceive them? And let's talk about it, because this is how we have misunderstandings, and we want to clear that up. So that way you can literally thrive in the relationship you have with the projector in your life. And then I like to look at when we're transforming, there's this level of sometimes we just get downloaded with all of this information. And if you've ever been in a program where there's just so much information and it's hard to do anything with it, and then it just kind of sits on the table for another day, I want us to be implementing as we go. So that there may be a couple questionnaires here or there, but I want the work to be done in our time together. And I want us to look transformationally at 4 different areas where we're looking at the psychology of how do you think about projectors? What do you think? What do projectors think about themselves? That's kind of the internal, individual level, which is one of the aspects in circuitry that we have in human design. Another individual aspect is the physiology. How do you feel in your body as a projector? How do you feel as a non-projector? You know, when you're around a projector, how do you feel? We already heard from a manifesting generator that said, oh, I feel burned out around projectors. So it's this level of, okay, if that's how you feel, what can we do to honor that and really support you so that going forward, it doesn't feel so heavy and so exhausting. From more of a tribal level within relationships, we want to understand the perceptions around being a projector, how they perceive themselves, and also how they're perceived by others. How do you perceive them? And then lastly, how you view the world and how they view you. So if you're not a projector, it's this level of how do they perceive you being a generator type? And sometimes it's this longing like, oh, I wish I could just be like you. It'd be so much easier. But you're not, and they're not. So let's honor who we actually are and embrace that. And that's really looking at the environment, because I want to know also who are you if you're a projector and you live at home. I'm a projector with a husband projector, a child projector, 2 generator children. I want to know your environment, because sometimes the hardest part of transformation is not being surrounded by the right people to help you make that transformation. So we need to take a look at the environment and understand it. So it's really important to get this big picture. So the investment I said is $247 for the program. And because you guys are here, I like to honor a quick decision discount for people who decide to show up, who register for the call. It's important because you honored yourself in learning and being able to separate your time and be able to just show up. That's important, and I value that. So I want you to know that the program is $247, but if you enroll in the program by Monday, so that's Monday, June 4th by midnight, then you'll get $100 off. So for $147, you can join the Powerful Projectors program, and you can register at alanaheim.com, ALANAHEIM.com. And I think there was a little issue yesterday, but it's all fixed. So you should have, you should be able to just jump right on, get access, learn more about the program. And I have a secondary option. It's called a VIP upgrade. And I have the Defined Will Center, and I like to kind of honor the opportunity to join a program in the way of what's more important. Do you want a money discount, or do you want the human design reading? And so if you would like to join the program and receive a 30-minute human design reading with me that we'll do via Zoom, and then you'll get a recording, then you'll get $100 off of that. So it'll be $247. So you get to choose. Would you rather have the money discount, or would you rather have the human design reading, which is always fun, especially if you've never had one. Then we can kind of look at your chart, or maybe you want to look at the projector in your life too, and you want to kind of understand a little bit more. Then that'll help give you a little bit more breadth and depth to the program while you're going through it. So I just wanted to be able to offer both of those options. Again, when you register by Monday, June 4th at midnight, then you'll get $100 off either. And I'm giving probably more time than my mentors or people would tell me, because I know that half the population is emotional. That means we need time to make decisions. And I like to honor that. So I want you to have plenty of time, especially if you couldn't attend live. I want you to have plenty of time, watch the recordings, get information, sit on it, see if this feels right. But I would be so excited to support you and or your loved ones in this Powerful Projectors program. And again, you can register at alanaheim.com. Just go check out the sales page and join if you feel so moved. And I'm really, really excited to have shared both of these webinars with you. I hope you found much value and that it helps to transform you as the projector or you as the person who loves a projector so that you can just have that really enduring, loving, kind of juicy relationship that you have with your family, your friends, and your clients. So again, I would love to have you. Thanks again for being here. And I hope you guys all have a really fantastic Friday and enjoy the weekend. All right, I will sign off and thanks again. Bye.